Hey guys, welcome back to another new episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. Yoel, thank you so much for joining me here today. I am so excited to hear your story and the impact that you're making in this incredible world we live in. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, Bernadette. Thank you so very much for having me on this podcast. I think first and foremost, I want to say I think you're doing a beautiful job, and this is a beautiful platform. So thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be in conversation with you today.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, can you start by telling us more about you and your journey?
I would love to. Absolutely, absolutely, Bernadette. So yeah, so my journey is so I was born in Southfield, Michigan, and I was born to two lovely parents who were a part and parcel of a religious organization called the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society,
Mm,
right? So automatically, after my mom and dad they got divorced when I was relatively young, I inherited their religion. So they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and so being a kid, that was automatically passed down to me to be a Jehovah's Witness as well. And so a lot of my life, Bernadette, during my early childhood, my adolescent years, my early 20s, it was really colored in by the canvas of the Watchtower Society. And so I grew up a JW. I've never been to church, so I didn't go to church and like, be in, I guess, quote unquote, the black church and be stomping my feet and clapping my hands and things of that nature. I grew up Watchtower um, in the Kingdom Hall, and the Kingdom Hall context is very conservative. There's no running up and down between the chairs, screaming and spinning on the floor and doing all that type of stuff. Um, and so that really informed a large chunk of my ideology, who I am, my identity. And so growing up JW is very interesting. I know we have different like caricatures and different jokes about Jehovah's Witnesses, how when they knock on the door and then people hide. That definitely happened. uh, that definitely happened to me. They would turn the lights off and say, we're not home, but I can still hear you. Um, and and so, but I think like how you said ever so eloquently earlier, Bernadette.
mm,
I don't think anything is coincidental, and I think Um, everything happens for a reason. And I believe you said this on another podcast that things in life don't really happen to us; they happen for us.
yes.
And I really love that because I think that we have this loving Heavenly Father, the King of Heaven, who allows things to happen in our lives that are for our good ultimately. And so eventually, when I became about 18, I experienced this existential identity crisis about myself, Bernadette.
Mm,
Um, Being African American is a very unique experience. When I became 18, I really began to question who I was. I was really searching for my identity. Because, and this is why I think things happen for us and just not to us. The school that I went to, I was in high school. It was a predominantly multi-ethnic, multicultural high school.
mm,
And so just seeing this rainbow of different cultures, from Haitians to Jamaicans to Nigerians, Pakistanis and Bangladeshi people,
mhm.
a Japanese, Chinese people, and seeing them talk in their native tongue, it was just so beautiful to me. And so it caused me to question and ask, well, man, like, is all I've been taught is about 1619 and slave ships and things of that nature. But I think on a solical level,
Mhm.
I'm like, there has to be something deeper than this. And so I guess to kind of truncate the story, I left the Watchtower Society after doing some soul searching and really asking God, really what I would call big questions, like why are we here? Who am I? What really was the catalyst for me and the tipping point for me, Bernadette, was the whole Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman episode. That really perturbed my soul and my spirit. So I got on my knees, I prayed to the King of Heaven, and he answered me. And so he caused me to leave the Watchtower Society, and that put me on a trajectory to him really saving me from multiple religions and warmly inviting me into this kingdom called heaven. And so, prayerfully, I didn't take up too much time. I know that that's a long-winded answer, but yeah, prayerfully that demystified me even more to your lovely audience, Bernadette.
Wow. Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Yeah, I love your curiosity for all of us. The way you describe the rainbow of different cultures and languages, I feel the same way. And it is such a beautiful way to see the world as.
Yes,
And yeah, I
yes,
love that you shared about different religions you've grew up around. I did
yes.
too. I did too. JW.
Really?
Jehovah Witness, right? Most of my family are that, and then Christian and Voodoo, and
Oh,
I think I was baptized. So, yeah,
wow.
yeah, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah. During your search, your soul search, which I think all of us are searching and seeking for
Mm.
a meaning of why we're here, why we exist, even why the world spins and the oceans. We're very curious creatures, and that's
Yes.
inspiring. During your search, what did you find? And were there times where there was silence?
Oh, yes, yes. Phenomenal question. Oh my goodness. Um, so during my search, the first half of that question, what I found was, um, oh, so much. Well, one, I I discovered a couple things.
Hmm.
One is I found, Bernadette, that regarding my dynamic with the Watchtower Society,
Hmm.
is that I had made the mistake of thinking that this organization was, in fact, the King of Heaven. And so I discovered that the King of Heaven was actually tearing down this idol in my life that I had elevated in my mind mentally for man since I could walk really. And
Hmm.
so that was one thing. The second thing was I discovered that the King of Heaven is not afraid of our questions, no matter how controversial they are, no matter how big they are or difficult that they may seem. I mean, I was asking questions, Bernadette, regarding the transatlantic slave trade. Why does it seem like my people go through so much trauma? Is it a curse to be melanated? Why are we always the object of racism and discrimination and marginalization? So I'm asking them all these questions, and the King of Heaven is big enough and loving enough to say, okay, he's ready. It's time for me to really have this conversation with him. And that's such a beautiful, it warms my soul to know that we're not alone. We're not alone within this life, that we can ask a question of someone who is higher than us and he will respond to it, especially if we have a pure heart and we're seeking him in sincerity. And the third thing that I found out was I discovered myself.
Mm.
Um, it's a very interesting thing, and I really want to use this story that my master teacher talked about. He talks about this. He gives a story about there's a father who has two sons, and one son, the younger son, says, "You know what, Dad? Like, just give me my inheritance. Like, give me my money. I want the bag, and I'm gonna get out of here." And he says, "Oh, all right." The father says, "Okay." So he gives his son the inheritance, and he goes and he lives this reckless life, spends it on frivolous things, and hard times come, and he ends up in a having to work such a low economic status, and he ends up within a pig pen,
Mm.
and he gets so desperate that he wants to eat what the pigs are eating, but then it talks about how he comes to himself And he says,
Yeah.
essentially, in so many words, this is not who I am.
Yeah.
I need to go back to my father's house. Even the slaves in his house, they're better than I'm living right now.
Hmm.
And so what I realized and discovered from that was I was in this pig pen and I was in this slop. And what the King of Heaven showed me is that I am going to help you discover who you really are. And he began to show me my identity, to show me that, whoa, these people that I'm reading about within the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, King David, like that I'm actually like related to these people via blood. Like this is my bloodline. So it revealed to me that I'm a man of Hebrew descent, of Israelite descent. And that just, I mean, made me do a happy dance and just celebrate
Yeah.
celebrate because I had never known that until he revealed it to me. And was there silence? Yes, there was definitely silence because um, when I left the Watchtower Bernadette, my mom and I, that was really a bonding experience for my mom and I to be sitting in the Kingdom Hall and learning together like that. But there was just silence betwixt us because I think the king wanted to, he knows that I can be a very impressionable person sometimes. I can be a people pleaser sometimes. And he knows that for you, Yoel, my son, I have to quiet all these voices. And so my voice can be the most amplified voice in your life, not just in this moment, but going forward. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
prayerfully that answers the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, definitely. Wow,
Okay.
thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's
Thank
probably one
you.
of my favorite stories in the Bible.
Yes.
When he came to himself, and sometimes, how he felt about having to go back home with all the shame and guilt and just
Yes.
grief that was
Yes.
unbearable, I'm sure, at that time. We also
Mm.
often carry that as well. And
Mm. Yes, we do.
we carry on generational garbage.
Yeah.
We see ourselves at times very unclean and not presentable, acceptable to be loved by Jesus, to be welcome in his
Mm.
kingdom. And
Yes.
it's an illusion, really.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I may add this too, really quick for your audience, because I think this will be a blessing to them too,
Hmm.
is that later on in my life, so when I left the Wise House Society, I fell into two more religions. Um, but this continues to show me the patience and the love and the covenants of fidelity of the King of Heaven.
Yeah.
And so even though I fell into for like I mean, if you blink your eye, I was gone from this religion. I fell into Messianic Judaism, Messianic Talmudism for like I said, for like a blink of an eye. Because I think that the King of Heaven he gives us something in our soul to where when you look at literature and you can read something, you can say, I don't think that's from him. So I'm gonna continue moving.
Yeah.
Um, and so I went from there to a religion called One West Hebrew Israelism,
Mm.
and I was in there longer. But what caused me to really leave that religion and the religiosity of that religion
Hmm.
is Bernadette. The I think that the King of Heaven has a sense of humor.
Oh, it does.
The
Yep. Check. It does. Hmm.
I think he has a sense of humor because in the Watchtower Society, I fancy myself an evangelist. I love to talk. I love to talk to people about the good news. And so I'm out here as a Jehovah's Witness, knocking on doors, preaching what I thought was the good news for the Watchtower, but it was the Watchtower's iteration of the good news.
Hmm.
Same thing in Messianic Judaism, and the same thing in One West Hebrew Israelism. But I was preaching their iteration of the good news.
Hmm.
Only until I came across this gentleman who I just love watching him, Dr. Miles Monroe. He said that the good news is repent because the kingdom of heaven has arrived.
Hmm.
And when he said this, Bernadette, I'm like, I've been preaching the good news all this time, and I've never heard this though.
Mm.
And so me being intellectually curious, I leaned into the conversation a little bit more to hear what does he mean. And so to truncate the story a little bit, I dove into the Hebrew language, and I saw that in Matthew 4:17 it said exactly what Dr. Miles Monroe was saying. And so this changed my life forever because it let me know that I thought that the kingdom of heaven was an afterlife thing when we die, but according to scripture, it's here and now.
Yeah,
And that changed my life for forever, Bernadette, for the best.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
You're so
So
welcome.
yeah, tell us more about your podcast. Who do you have on there and what do you guys talk about?
Yes, yes. So the Kingdom Besorah podcast, it's my baby right there.
Nice.
Um so the Kingdom Besorah podcast, it was the premise of it is it's really Matthew 4:17. Change your mind because the kingdom of heaven has arrived. And I do my best to apply that to every facet of life, whether it be relationships, whether it be finances, whether it be politics, whether it be pop culture. And I talk about how I think we maybe need to change our mindset because we have been taught to think certain things, but the creative life, he has a higher quality of thinking for us and a higher quality of life for us that he wants us to live. But we can only go so far as our mind will allow us to go, right?
Mm,
I feel like the mind is like this beautiful passport. And if you really can um, tap into the kingdom mindset, then your mental passport can take you places that you probably wouldn't even have dreamt of.
mm,
So that's what I talk about, and I have, man, I get personal on the podcast. I get vulnerable. I'm thinking right now. I did an episode previous season about me going to Toronto, Canada, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and and the life lessons that I learned retrospectively, looking back at it, um, I mean, yeah, like we were Jehovah's Witnesses, but my to I guess to give a little teaser, my Jehovah's Witness friends tricked me into going into a nightclub. And so to hear more about that story, you got to tune into the podcast to hear what happened. hear what happened. It's very interesting. And Canada, it's a beautiful place, by the way. I want to say that it's a beautiful place.
mhm,
Um, and so yeah, so I have interviews as well too. I interview people from people who believe in the Bible, those who maybe have a different viewpoint than I do as well too. And so yeah, I'm trying to do my best to um, really spread this good news about the kingdom of heaven as best as I can through the platform of the Kingdom of Soul podcast.
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So, what is the mission? What is the legacy that you want to leave and share with me and also those around you?
Mm, excellent question. Excellent question. You're really, really good at this, Bernadette. Um, um, you can see. Dr. Miles Monroe says this, and it really resonated with me when he said it. He articulated that, and it's two words, but I think they're very powerful two words: die empty. And that's what I believe I want to do. And the legacy that I want to leave behind is a legacy of me doing everything that I can using the gift or the gifts that the King of Heaven has downloaded within me, that He's blessed me with, to make earth look a lot more like heaven.
Mm,
So whether that be through me writing, because I love to write, I love words, I love reading. Um, I've had the opportunity and blessing of authoring a couple of books as well too. Um, and I feel like I feel like the king is helping me to become unwrapped, to unwrap more gifts. I feel like recently, I feel like he's trying to help me to unwrap this songwriting gift and to do more singing, um, to even write scripts and plays and satire, even to um, not just entertain, but like infotainment, to inform people about his government, but also to not let it be dull and dry and gray, but to add some color to it as well.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, that would be the legacy that I would want to leave behind. Is that when people think about Yoel ben Yisrael, they were like, that was a man, a citizen of heaven, who did his very best to advance heaven wherever he went, and to leave heaven's fingerprint on earth. And he died empty. He didn't rob his generation of any song, any book, any script, any musical, but he emptied himself, and he didn't allow the grave to steal any idea or any gift that the king put within his soul.
Mm.
So yeah, that
Wow.
would be my answer for that.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's incredible. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing.
Mhm.
I love that you write. I write, and I love singing.
Really?
I
Oh my
love
God.
singing. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
over time, building more confidence into doing it. Yeah, it's
Yes.
really cool.
Yes.
It's really, really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. My other question for you is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Mm. I love this question. I love this question. The meaning of life for me, to put it succinctly, is Earth right now, as we know it, Bernadette. Um, man, so much is going on. It's filled with a lot of trauma, a lot of turmoil, a lot of turbulence, um, and a lot of darkness and a lot of heaviness as well too. And I believe that in my search and discovering who I am, the King of Heaven, he also helped me to answer that big question of, yeah, like, why are we here? Like, what is the point of all this?
Mm,
And the scripture talks about, blessed are those who are poor in spirit, because the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. But there is another translation that I think puts it even more, that puts it in an even more crystallized manner. It says, blessed are those who are aware that they are spiritually poor,
mm,
because the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. And I think that the purpose of life is that for us to, one, reconnect with the one who can really heal that spiritual malnutrition, one. And then two, for Bernadette Desir, for your lovely audience listening, for myself, for us to be able to go wherever the King leads us, and to advance heaven there as well too. So I guess to put it in a nutshell, to make earth look like heaven, to
yeah,
make earth look a lot more like heaven.
yeah. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So where can people find you and connect with you and listen to your podcast?
Yeah. So you all can find me. You guys can connect with me and talk to me and email me and do all the things. You can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook as Yoel Ben Yisrael. I am on TikTok as Yoel Ben Yisrael as well, and I'm on Instagram by a different handle by Lebtahor. That's LEB underscore TAHOR. You can find me on there, and if you want to get in, I guess like a more long form conversation with me, email will be the perfect place. You can email me at Yoel Ben Yisrael at gmail.com. And I would love to hear from you and have a conversation and connect with you for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so very much. Bernadette, this podcast has been if not my favorite, but one of the best platforms I feel like I've been on so far.
Oh, thank
So thank you for being a gracious host. And your questions are phenomenal and very thought provoking. So thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to serve you
you.
as a guest on the platform.
You're welcome.